Hi everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to be working on a watercolor painting, which I haven't painted anything with watercolors in a few months. I took an unintentional break from watercolors. I've been focused on studies for the art challenge, also designing stuff for Etsy. Also, I volunteer for a Black-owned magazine called Rise magazine, and I do a monthly comic. So that's where most of my creative energy has been going for the past few months. I've been meaning to and wanting to pick up watercolors for a while. Every time I would go to do it, it would be like, I don't know if I actually have the energy required to sit down and pull out all the supplies and also the patience to wait for things to dry. Even though I do have like a heat gun that I use to help me dry the paints faster, I still was just like, I don't know if I feel like doing this. And so for several months I have not been doing this, and more recently I have picked up Prismacolor pencils, and so whenever I get in the mood to draw something quote-unquote for myself, it's usually with the Prismacolor pencils or I'm just sketching. I don't want to say that not drawing things for myself is an issue currently, but I have noticed that I'm not doing it as often, which maybe I should be concerned about that. I'm unsure. In the past, whenever I have drawn things for, I guess you could say, work, I would usually use drawing as, like, I would take a break from drawing to go draw, if that makes sense. However, more recently, I've noticed that's not really something I've been doing. When I'm not designing things for Etsy or working on things for the art challenge or doing the comic, I'm not drawing. I'm really not. I've picked up other things this year, namely working out, which I didn't expect. Even though I did used to run track, I never really considered myself to be very athletic or a quote-unquote gym rat. However, for the past few months, I've really been enjoying going to the gym and things like that, and it's been really nice. So when I'm not drawing, I'm either at the gym, which sounds so, oh my gosh, girl, whatever. I'm at the gym, or I'm sitting on the porch reading. Though I haven't been getting much reading and porch time in recently. It's getting cold. I don't want to sit out there anymore. But I did a lot of that during the summer. Or I'm honestly just wasting time, brain cells, and energy on Instagram Reels. Speaking of Instagram Reels, that's also something that I picked up this year, and that's just making Instagram Reels. Turns out I really enjoy making short form content. That's been very fun. If I'm not making videos on YouTube, which I haven't been making that many videos on YouTube the past few months, I'm usually making videos for Instagram, and I find a lot of enjoyment in that as well. A lot of what I'm experiencing currently is due to a shift that happened over the summer, and that is art went from being mostly a hobby to now it's starting to become like a job. And that has been a very interesting thing to navigate. I, of course, still really enjoy drawing, even when it is for quote-unquote work. I probably shouldn't say quote-unquote work. I actually should start looking at it as work. That's something that I'm actively working on. But anyways, because it is starting to, I guess, feel like work sometimes, when I don't have to draw, I guess I almost don't want to, which kind of makes me a little sad. Which is why this week I actually did pick up my sketchbook and started to like intentionally just draw casually without thinking about a, I guess, end goal for the drawings that I was doing, if that makes sense. I just wanted to draw for fun, and it was really, really nice. I think there's a balance to everything. I mean, of course there's a balance to everything, but I just have to find it, because I feel like I've just been doing a lot of drawings that, I guess, serve a purpose, if that makes sense, and not enough silly just for funsies drawings. I picked up my sketchbook and started sketching casually again, and that has been very nice. And I also did like some casual Prismacolor drawings, which was also very nice. And I even did some Ohuhu marker drawings. Also very nice. I didn't end up filming anything, which there was a thought in the back of my mind that was like, I really should have filmed that. But I didn't, and that's gonna have to be okay, guys, because I mean, I can't go back in time and change that. So I'm gonna have to get over that. But anyways, it was still really, really nice, you know, to just sit and draw something that didn't have any, like, there was no obligations that I was trying to meet. I mean, the drawings were just for fun. Like, I drew some Star Wars stuff, and I drew some elves, and there was just no pressure. It was really nice. So that's what I'm trying to get back into, is just, you know, when I have time and mental energy for it, just sitting down and just drawing some things for funsies. The art challenge was created so that I could improve my artwork, so that I could be a better artist for things like, you know, commissions and things like that. But also just so that I could be a better artist for myself, because I really enjoy drawing and I really want to be proud of the work that I'm putting out. But I feel that it would be, I don't want to say non-productive, but, or counterintuitive, is that the word? I don't think it makes sense to put all of that effort into learning or relearning some things just to not take time to actually enjoy drawing as well. Even though when I am working on other things, I am enjoying it. Like, I enjoy working on the monthly comic, and I enjoy learning new things for the art challenge, and also I enjoy designing things for Etsy. So those are all things that I enjoy, and I am using what I've learned. You know, what I've learned has helped me to improve those things. But I feel like I'm talking in circles. But I mean, I do want to enjoy drawing outside of all those things. It's basically, that's what I'm getting at. This painting was sort of an attempt at that, but there still was some kind of obligation, because I was like, oh, I'm filming this also for YouTube, so there is a little bit of pressure to make this quote-unquote look good. And unfortunately, by the end, I was like, you know what, it actually kind of doesn't. Because I was so focused on making sure everything was in frame and making sure everything was looking nice and aesthetically pleasing and all of that sort of thing, that I wasn't paying attention to the anatomy, the facial anatomy. One of her eyes is smaller than the other one, and just the facial anatomy is a little off. And I know I can do better, because I've learned so much this year. Praise be to Allah. So I know I can do better. But I was just so focused on other things that I just wasn't paying attention, and I didn't notice until the very end, which is unfortunate. While I was painting, I was also trying my very hardest to be aware of color theory, because that's what we're working on this month for the art challenge. And I think that may have also contributed to a bit of the pressure that I was feeling while I was painting. I don't want to say it took away the enjoyment, because I don't think that's what did it. I think it was me focusing on other things instead of actually focusing on the painting, focusing on the drawing. I wasn't focused on what I was supposed to be focused on. But anyways, I tried my hardest to mainly use the primary colors, and if I'm not mistaken, I did. However, they're not true primaries. I wanted to go with CMYK. However, I don't have a true magenta or a true cyan, so I had to improvise. I used quinacridone Opera, I believe it is, for my magenta-like color, and if I'm not mistaken, I used cobalt blue hue for my cyan-like color. But like I said, they're not true cyan and magenta, so things get a little, I don't want to say muddy, because the colors aren't muddy at all, but they're not. That plane is really loud. I don't know if you can hear that. Anyways, so they're not true primaries, but they're close enough. So it wasn't like too difficult to mix colors or anything, but it does add a slight level of difficulty, and of course adds to the time, because I'm not using all those colors I have right there. I'm trying to mix the colors that I need, which usually whenever I'm coloring like skin tones and things, I use my burnt sienna, my burnt umber, and also mineral violet. That's like one of my favorite colors to use when I'm painting skin with watercolors. I use it to like deepen the shadows and such. Anyways, didn't use any of those. only use these faux primaries. But I mean, it worked out, I guess. But anyways, since I wasn't feeling too pleased with the drawing, I decided to pull out some Prismacolors to try to fix some things. I wasn't satisfied with some of the colors I chose, particularly for her skin tone. So I tried to fix some things up a little bit. But I don't want to say I ruined it, but I don't like how things were looking. I'll just say that. Not gonna lie, by this point I was feeling very frustrated because I was like, this is not turning out how I want it to at all. And I know I can do better. So I ended up just taking a picture of the drawing and sending it over to my iPad and doing a little tweaks of the anatomy and also tweaks of the colors so that the drawing would look closer to what I was envisioning. And that made me feel a little better about it. But I can do better. I think moving forward, I definitely need to work on not being so hard on myself when I do these types of paintings. But you know what? One thing at a time. Anyways, this is how the painting turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to make it as chill and enjoyable as possible. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Shout out to my patrons, Merriman Illustrations, Sisadonna55, Kelsey, and my mama. Thank you so much for being my patrons. I really appreciate you and everything you do. Well, oh my goodness, here are a couple more videos that I think you would like, and I will see you next time, inshallah.